From the world headquarters of Fox News, it's The Kelly File with Megyn Kelly.
Well, as millions of Americans worry about losing their health care plans, a growing number of lawmakers may now be worrying about losing their jobs. Senator Mary Landrieu is up for re-election down in Louisiana in 2014. Back in 2009, she was a vocal supporter of the president's law, although her vote was very controversial. And how she maintained it would allow people to keep their health care plans.
Those individuals who like the coverage they already have will be able to keep their current plan. This is a very accurate description of this bill.
Fast forward to this week and the reports of millions of people getting kicked off of their insurance plans. The senator came out and said, I had no idea this would happen. We've got to do something about it. And now she says she's introducing a bill to help people keep the plans they hadn't liked. But wait, we did some digging. And it turns out that Republicans had foreseen that an HHS regulation, Health and Human Services, passed in the summer of 2010, right after the law was passed, and a change in that regulation would guarantee, basically, that all of these people were going to start losing their insurance when the law kicked in, just as they are, and we all know it right now. In fact, the Republicans warned about this back in 2010. They actually read the Federal Register, unlike regular people. And they went to the Senate and they said, let's pass a law. We've written one that will protect people and stop this from happening. Here's Senator Mike Enzi.
The reality of this new regulation is that if you like what you have, you can't keep it. That's why I'm so concerned about this grandfathered health plan regulation, and that's why I introduced the resolution that we're debating today. My resolution would force the administration to actually keep their promises.
So what did Senator Landrieu do? She voted against the Enzi proposal. The GOP predicted what would happen, but Ms. Landrieu decided to side with what the White House wanted, and now she comes out and says, I had no idea that covered people were going to start losing their plans. Really? Joining us now, radio talk show host Dana Lash and radio talk show host Richard Fowler and host of the Richard Fowler Show. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks, Megyn.
You know,
Thanks,
her vote
Megyn.
was very controversial, and critics said she had to be bought off with what was called the Louisiana Purchase. She denied that. But for her to now come out and say, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that people are losing their plans, contrary to what we all promised, when now we know she was warned specifically that this HHS regulation was going to do that, and she voted against a proposed fix on it, Dana, is exactly the kind of thing people hate about politicians in Washington.
Oh, completely agreed, Megyn. And it's it's even more disingenuous when you consider the fact that Senator Landrieu is recorded remarks just from last August saying that she would vote for Obamacare all over again. She said, I'd vote for Obamacare again. I'd vote for it tomorrow. And this is even after knowing, this is after the 2010 battle. This is after that Enzi brought up this resolution saying that, look, we need to keep these plans. We need to, so that insurance companies aren't canceling them. So she not only knew about it, but basically there's no other way to put it. She's lied twice now so far, Megyn.
It was on this specific issue, Richard. They said, hey, hold on, HHS just tightened the noose such that almost none of these plans are going to be grandfathered. And this promise, if you can keep your plan, if you like it, is going to be completely broken. And she said, I vote against it. I don't like your fix. And did she come out and propose her own fix saying, whoa, we can't break that promise? No. And now she wants us to believe she's shocked, Richard.
Look, don't get me wrong. I think Senator Landrieu has a tough race ahead of her, and she's in a battleground state where she's going to have to do some political posturing here. But I think that takes away from the fact, Megyn, that what is happening with those individuals losing their health care policy, yes, their plan has been canceled, but they will qualify for a better plan in the health care exchange.
Stop that,
and
Richard.
Beyond that,
you know I don't
they
allow
might qualify
that.
for a tax
Don't try to
subsidy.
bridge away to a safer place. Stay on point. The point that we are trying to discuss tonight is his hypocrisy in Washington and
no
dishonesty. Is she being dishonest now when she comes out and says, I had no idea?
Well, Megyn, there was political posturing here. She clearly has politically postured herself to go back to her.
What does posturing mean?
To go back to her, she's sort of, I don't know what you would call it. You can call it a flip-flop if you want to call it a flip-flop. She's
faking.
Posturing to make sure that she has a better chance to win in her home district. That doesn't take away from the benefits of the law.
What these politicians don't realize, and don't get me wrong, both sides forget that there's this magical thing called videotape and contemporaneous recordings. And I mean, here's for example, Dana, a speech that Senator Chuck Grassley got up at the time when Enzi was proposing this bill that would fix the grandfathering problem. And he said, Only in D.C. can you get away with telling the people if you like your plan, you can keep it, and then pass regulations 6 months later that do exactly the opposite and figure people are going to ignore it. But common sense will eventually prevail in this town. And now Senator Landrieu says, who? Chuck who? Ends it Mike who? I don't know what they're talking about. I'm shocked.
Right. Well, it's not even just posturing. She's faking this, and she's lied twice about this. Now, because her state is trending red, and because the Rothenberg Political Report, unbiased polling, said, look, this is a toss-up state. Her seats, these are one of the Senate seats that are completely in play. She could lose. So now she has to run back and try to make amends with voters who are rebelling against her in the polls. It's complete Washington, D.C. fakeness. I don't buy her excuses on this, Megyn. I don't buy any of their excuses. I don't believe this is what we're led to believe, that they're so negligent that they pass something like this without any oversight at all, because we know that to assume such, we've been called racist and terrorists over it. So the only thing that we're left to assume is that it's on purpose.
You're going a step too far. I think, one, we all know there's benefits to this. There's benefits to this bill. You cannot deny the facts. 3 million young people back on their parents' health care insurance. People with pre-existing conditions would have never received health care before, but they have health care now.
We have been through all that. But you tell me, you call it posturing.
But there was political posturing here.
But posturing is, I mean, well, like this. No, posturing is not as egregious as this, Richard. Anyway, I got to wrap because we're up against a hard break, but great seeing you both.
Thanks, Megyn.
Thanks, Megyn.